Will's feet pound against the dungeon floor, his breath steady and his eyes sharp. The sound of a massive creature stomping ahead echoes through the dark, cold cavern. Will grips his sword tightly, fully aware that what's coming next will either be his greatest victory or his last battle in the depths of the fourth floor. Suddenly, a massive shadow bursts from the tunnel ahead. It's the Frost Rex, a colossal ice beast towering over Will with jagged icicles protruding from its back. Creature roars, shaking the walls of the cavern, and with a massive sweep of its claws, it charges straight at Will, frost trailing from its breath. Without a second to lose, Will dives to the side, barely escaping the Rex's icy claws as they slam into the ground, freezing everything around him. The cold bites at his skin, but Will's mind is laser-focused on his goal. He needs to defeat this monster and collect the ice core. This isn't just about the mission anymore. It's about proving to himself that he can stand tall without magic. As Will slides across the frosty ground, he tightens his grip on his sword. Physical attacks don't work on this thing, he mutters to himself, recalling the creature's weakness. His eyes flicker at the explosives tucked in his pouch, but fire does. The Frost Rex snarls, its icy breath starting to fill the cavern. Will launches himself into action, dodging another swipe from the beast. He knows he has only one chance to pull this off. The Rex lets out a roar, sending a wave of frost toward him, but Will expertly ducks under the icy blast and uses the cover of the frozen mist to get close to the monster's blind spot. With swift precision, Will begins wrapping the Frost Rex in magic-infused wire, his every movement quick and calculated. Beast thrashes violently, trying to shake him off, but Will doesn't stop. He jumps back just in time to avoid the Rex's tail, setting the final wire in place. Then, in one fluid motion, he lights the explosive wire with a spark of fire. Flames race along the wire, igniting the monster in a ring of fire. The Frost Rex roars in agony, flailing as the flames consume it, melting its icy armor. Will watches as the beast's massive form begins to collapse, crumbling into a pile of ash and ice. He lets out a breath, victorious. Frost Rex is no more. Behind him, Iris, who had been watching the battle from behind an ice wall, steps forward, eyes wide in awe. You actually did it. Will gives her a small nod, his gaze still fixed on the remains of the beast. Magic isn't everything. Experience, knowledge, and strategy. Those can be just as powerful. You're not like the other students, she says, a bit of admiration creeping into her voice. You fight with your wits, not just brute strength or magic. As they walk through the icy caverns, the atmosphere is thick with the cold, and their breath forms small clouds with each step. Will remains calm, his eyes scanning every corner of the cavern, while Iris nervously keeps up behind him. Iris breaks the silence, her voice low but filled with emotion. She saved my life once, she says, the memory of that day flickering in her eyes. I was deep in the dungeons, surrounded by monsters. It was over. I thought that was it for me, that I'd never get out alive. Will, his attention still focused ahead, listens intently. He can sense the weight in her words. I didn't have the strength to fight back, Iris continues, her voice trembling slightly. But then, just when I thought the monsters were going to tear me apart, Wistoria appeared like a beacon of hope. She fought them off without hesitation. The way she moved, her spells, it was like nothing I'd ever seen. In that moment, she wasn't just a mage. She was a hero. Will slows his pace, turning slightly to look at her. There's a deep respect in his gaze. Wistoria's always been like that, he says softly, his voice carrying a hint of admiration. She's not just powerful, she's kind. Iris nods, her expression softening. After that day, I promised myself I'd do whatever I could to help her. Will looks ahead, his face serious. The sky, he mutters, piecing together what Iris had said earlier. You mentioned the sky. Iris's expression darkens slightly. The sky we see above us, it's not real. It's a barrier held in place by the Magia Vanders. Their power keeps the darkness from engulfing us. But if that barrier ever falls, the world will be plunged into chaos again. Monsters, the darkness, it'll all return. Will lets those words sink in, realizing that the stakes are much higher than he originally thought. Dungeon wasn't just a test or a place to gather resources. It was part of a much bigger fight, one that he couldn't afford to lose. There's more to this than we've been told, Will says quietly, his eyes narrowing with determination. Stay connected and live Will's journey with one and only endless recaps. Subscribe to find out more.